Be very quiet. We're hunting pigs. Buh, buh. Buh, buh. Buh, buh. So we're out here in one of our man-made wetlands here, where we've planted a bunch of cattails, and the pigs are out rooting around, looking for roots that they're digging up here from these cattails. And these cattails, the entire plant is edible at different stages of its life, and in particular the root is really high in carbohydrates and proteins. It's basically the equivalent to it's like a cross between like corn, wheat, potatoes, and you know, your kind of standard agricultural crops. There's one there. See that? More pigs. And so this is a we used to farm right through this whole area here, but after doing a lot of our earthworks and putting in some of our dams and things like that, we've created these floodplains that have now really filled in nicely with cattails. And at this time of the year, when the cattails are at their peak, they're over 6 feet tall, and there's literally tens of thousands of pounds of biomass below the ground and even more above ground. And the water has since infiltrated. So if I was here in the spring right now, I would be standing in about 2 to 3 feet of water, but now all that water has either infiltrated into the ground to recharge the aquifers, or some of it's obviously evaporated. But now that our pigs are big enough that they can be a little bit further out from our integrated livestock system with just a single wire at nose height, we're able to get them out into this little wetland here, and they're basically harvesting the majority of their food for themselves. So we still feed them twice a day with our fermented grains and grass and milk, but the remainder of the time they have to come out and get the rest of the food for themselves, and they just love it. See ya! Come here, pigs. Come here. See ya! Come on. Come here. See ya! So these guys are about 100 pounds right now. They're doing just fantastic, and a minimum of 30% of their feed that we are giving them is grass. So we have our own mix mill on farm. I've got other videos showing how we make the feed, but we actually grind in about 30% hay, things like alfalfa, timothy, brome, forbs, and other legumes and things like that. We mix that in with the feed to reduce the amount of grain content that we're giving them, so that we can, and we're increasing that every single year, so that we can create a grass-fed pig here, and this year we're at the kind of 30% mark, which is pretty fantastic, and they're still just looking really good. These guys were born in May, the first to the second week of May here from 4 of our sows, and they should be ready for market by the end of November, once the ground freezes solid and these cattails are no longer they can't come out here and dig. But for the time being, they love coming out and doing what pigs do best. And wetlands were just made for pigs, And you might think that, well, aren't you going to damage that wetland or pollute the waters or anything like that? And that was one of our concerns when we started doing this too. But we've been monitoring for water quality as well as for just the other indicators. We've engaged other organizations like Cows and Fish that will come in and do third-party riparian health assessments. And since we started doing this, the health of our riparian, I'm getting my shirt here, playing tug of war. Since we started doing stuff like this, get out of here. We've actually had our the health of our riparian areas increase. If anything, there's very few. Actually, I don't think there's any so-called invasive species in here. There's no thistles. There's it's basically just bulrush and cattails that we've planted. And every year it seems to there's still a bit spooky yet. Another week or so they'll start to be my best friends once they weigh about the same weight as I do. They're no longer scared of me anymore, and they'll come up and just really give me a run for my money. But so yeah, right now it's the first week of September here, and they should be able to spend another month out in this particular piece here. And we've got several other pieces that we rotate them through at from year to year, and also at different times. And they're just really enjoying it. So we'll walk back now to our integrated livestock system, and where they get fed twice a day, and we'll see if these guys will follow me. See ya! See ya! See ya! So that's the call that I make. All the animals on the farm have a specific call that we train them to come to, so that normally I don't have to walk a quarter mile out to the pigs every morning to get them to come in. They just hear that and they'll come running. See ya! The other interesting thing about this is that I've only planted these cattails once. So we came through with in the springtime with these little seed heads here, and we just hit them against the bucket, and the little fuzz just floats off. And we seeded about 4 acres just in an hour or so, just by going for a walk and basically beating the drum. And that's the only time I've had to do that, so long as we don't overgraze the cattails. Now this is another piece that had cattails in it earlier, but we, in our early 2 years ago, we grazed this a little more intensively, and you can kind of see here out in the middle, the pigs actually ate all the cattail roots, and they haven't come back yet. I've been just kind of monitoring and seeing how it's going. So that's one of the things that we've had to kind of trial, is figuring out how intensive we want to get the pigs in here to start digging. So one of the things we do is give them big areas, as opposed to moving them once a day, and like you would cattle, we give them large areas, and that seems to just lessen the intensity that they graze. One of the things I found is the smaller the area a pig has, the more they want to go down, and you kind of see it here. It's like wherever there's a fence, they seem to get antsy, or they feel like they're trapped in, and they do more disturbance. Whereas and they tend to focus their disturbance around the perimeters. It's and I think part of that is they're actually plotting to escape somehow, and they purposely go and ground out fences. So they make little windrows that actually bury the fence, and then it shorts out. Oh, you can kind of hear that there. So I got to go by every couple days and just kick those piles off. See ya! See ya! And but by giving them bigger areas, this was all solid cattails, just like the other section. But couple years ago we had them in here and they actually overgrazed it. And so we're resting this area this year, and we've been trying to seed in cattails to get them to come back. But and it definitely will. And then we'll retry that. But giving them large areas is probably one of the best ways of managing the overgrazing of those species. And in that case, you'd never have to reseed those past or those your wetland paddocks ever again. See up, see up. A bit scared. Normally, I don't come out and check on them in the mornings or in the evenings. I just feed them and they come running. So this is one of the little pig gates. This is the integrated livestock system here is behind this fence. And so we just have these little slide gates that we open up and then let them out. And we can, with temporary electric fencing, we can decide whether they want to be in our garden, whether they want to be in one particular paddock on grass, or on the other side of this pen, there's also other little pig gates. There's another one in that corner that allows us to separate either half of this integrated livestock system, or we can even let them out on this side of the pen, out with our dairy cows in some of the paddocks out there. So that's Sophie there, she's just waiting to get milked. And I've got the pig feed all set up in their troughs. And I think I've mentioned this in other videos, but you'll probably notice how it's kind of muddy and gross in here right now. And that's kind of one of the, this is actually by design that we're doing this. We used to put a lot of straw in the pens during the summertime, and that straw would, it was great for capturing, you know, the pig manure and things like that, so we could add it onto our fields. But the problem with the straw is that it acts like a mulch, and so when you do get rain like we did last night, which is why it's muddy in here right now, the pen doesn't dry out, and then it gets worse, and you can get other problems. But what we have done is we've redesigned this whole corral so that the whole thing slopes down this direction towards this gate, and actually flows out down into another man-made wetland where we grow our duckweed, which I've done other videos on that as well. And that duckweed is has more protein than soy. It's like 30 or 40% protein, and it produces more crude protein per acre. It's like 10 times more protein per acre than any soy crop can, and it's using a waste resource. And we also have indicators to let us know whether or not, you know, that's causing any problems or pollution in this wetland here. So I've got minnows, I've got frogs, there's salamanders, there's snakes, there's snails. There's also a visual water quality indicator that we use to make sure that the amount of manure running off from this pen isn't causing any pollution, which pollution is just excess energy that causes suffering. And so as long as there's no suffering that's being caused by this livestock runoff, there's no issues. And so in that way, we don't want to put straw in this pen. We want to keep it bare so that it does run off and it doesn't cause problems in the pen where you know, water can pool and create the conditions for diseases and things like that, and to mitigate the potential problem of it polluting, you know, water body. We just introduced a species called duckweed, or Lemna minor, which is perfectly adapted to and actually thrives in high nutrient, high temperature waters. And so every day we harvest, you know, about a 5-gallon bucket of, sorry, 2 5-gallon buckets, one in the morning, one at night, of duckweed that we feed to our chickens as well as our pigs. I'm surprised they're not coming here. See ya! See ya! See ya! See ya! Anyway, so they'll come, they'll eat their breakfast, they'll head back out to work, and in the evening, around 8:30, 9 o'clock, when I come to lock the calf up, they'll come back from work and they'll eat their supper, and they sleep in the pen here. Or sometimes they sleep out in the cattails there, and the whole process repeats again. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and we'll talk to you later.